Hello and welcome to Typical City. Well, that was pretty disappointing, wasn't it? I mean, Liverpool got off to a typical Liverpool start early on, frantically at us, gunning for us, and they wanted to prove a point. Last season must have stung, and it showed in the way they started the game. They looked fresher. City didn't quite look as fresh, got 2 games under our belt, whereas Liverpool have got the 3 games under their belt, and they're planning another pre-season game for some reason. I'm sure Klopp's going to find another reason to complain about that because the fixture congestion's too much for him. But yeah, go on, stick another pre-season game in halfway, early on into the season. That makes sense, doesn't it, Klopp? But yeah, you got to hand it to Liverpool and to Klopp for not starting Núñez. I actually think that was quite a shrewd little move on the quiet because he was in the firing line, Núñez, and he was under pressure more so than Haaland because I think Haaland, it's almost a given that he's going to do well. Question marks will be raised now because of the performance not being so great, but I still believe Haaland's going to go on and do some great things for City. But there was times where he looked pretty rusty, whereas not starting Núñez, it gave him that opportunity to bed him in a little bit slower, take him out of the firing line and bring him on when they're winning. And that's a great environment to bring any player on. And yeah, Núñez comes on, gets the goal. He misses a sitter, in fairness to him. I mean, it's not really a sitter. Edison does a great job saving one with the old nose. But, yeah, I mean, it's a tough one to take because losing at any point to Liverpool is a tough one to take. But it was the start that got me, that was pretty obvious that we were sluggish and Liverpool weren't sluggish at all. They've got an extra game under their belt. They've even got another game planned for, second game of the season. Why they're doing that? Klopp's complaining about a new a fixture congestion, but then throwing a new pre-season game in the middle, at the start of the Premier League season. Why throw an extra pre-season game in if you're complaining about fixture congestion? I do not understand that, but that's Klopp for you. He'll find something to complain about, but not much to complain about today because they deserved the win, in all honesty. They deserved it. But, yeah, I mean, the first half, there was times when Haaland was getting through, or at least making the runs to get through, and we weren't finding him. De Bruyne had a good effort that was blocked, in fairness. I think it was Matip or Van Dijk intercepted the pass. But there were other times where the pass wasn't even attempted. And I think that was a learning curve for City where they've got to see that, Haaland's on the shoulder at all times. He's constantly looking for that running behind. And I thought that there was a few moments that we looked like we didn't look ready for his runs, and we were probably expecting more intricate play compared to last season, where we were looking for the triangles and the slower build-up. Whereas I think we need to be a bit more rock and roll, a bit more Liverpool-esque with Haaland's availability and the runs that he makes in behind. There was, especially in the first half an hour, there was 2 or 3 where he looked like he was running in behind, and we didn't look ready for the pass. And then the same with Grealish in particular, Mahrez on the other side. Mahrez made a few attempts in the first half to get a few passes in, a bit wayward crosses, but you can't argue when it's attempts. I think Pep's always been like that when he's looked at players at least attempting the pass. If it goes out for a throw-in, goes out for a goal kick, no problem. At least you made the attempt to make the pass. Grealish, he did it again. In the second half, there was a time when he got to the byline and he cut back and he bypassed 3 City players to get it all the way back to Rodri, who then clipped it nicely over the top to Julian Alvarez, who was on the pitch at that point. And then one touch and it looked like a chance. And that's the sort of runs we want Grealish to be making. He can't keep playing it safe. Grealish has got a big season ahead of him. And I know City fans will want Grealish to do the business this season, and I obviously would want that as well. But there's question marks over his head, and I mean, what do we want as City fans? Because there are times when I like the whole party atmosphere because we do like that daft player like Balotelli. We've had players over the years that have caused trouble off the pitch in terms of being a bit of a party animal, and Grealish looks like he's doing the same thing, but that puts you in the crosshairs. Do you know what I mean? You crossed that white line, you've got to perform. You highlighted more. There's more of an emphasis if you do badly. You've got to do well. And Grealish has got that last season. I think you're allowed that. Your first season, you're given a time to bed in because there's been plenty of City players that have joined And the first year they've looked a bit ropey. Rodri he looks world class. He looks like it's a solid player. But he took a little bit of time to bed in. And Grealish has got to do the same. And I mean, today it didn't look any different. It's only a pre-season. Well, is it pre-season? I don't call these pre-season games at all. I take them very, very seriously. But yeah, I mean, we lost, didn't we? So yeah, pre-season game, innit? That means nothing. If we won, it was really, really important. Silverware on the board. But, you know, if you don't win, it's one of those tin pot trophies that no one really cares about. That's how the Community Shield works nowadays, isn't it? But, yeah, I mean, Klopp's he's got things going again. Before the game, in fact, he got things going saying City are already the champions. I mean, he's getting quite predictable, isn't he, Klopp? On the pitch as well, giving it large when Cancelo went in for a tackle, squaring up to the fourth official, and yeah, a bit of Mourinho-esque, he was the same. The media welcomed Mourinho when he first joined, and Klopp is the same. They've got that charismatic way about them that's like lovable by the media, but they talk a lot. You talk a lot, you say things too often, and you keep saying things over and over. Eventually you contradict yourself, and the things you've said in the past come back to bite you. And Klopp's definitely fallen into that trap for me. But yeah, he's got them playing. They looked hungry. They went out and they looked hungry today. Yeah, it was good to see Alvarez come on. He looked sharp. Haaland I mean, there was one moment in the first half where he brought the ball down, and I thought, you're going to lose this here. Robertson's on your shoulder. One touch off your chest, bring it down. Robertson's going to swoop in. But he touched it down on his chest, and Robertson came round over his shoulder, and he was already like, get off me, fuck off, get off me. And that's the Haaland I've seen. That's the Haaland we saw at Borussia Dortmund. That's the one we want to see. And he got his shot away. To get a shot away in that situation just shows how lethal he is, how prepared he is to get that first time, one touch, and bang. That's what he wants to do. And then in moments later, a cross comes in, and he goes for it with his wrong foot, and he misses it. I mean, you got to give him a chance. We're talking one proper game of competitiveness. He got his goal against Bayern Munich, but he missed a sitter in the first half. It wasn't quite a sitter, but that one in the stoppage time where he hits the bar, even he looked embarrassed. He looked like, yeah, I should have buried that. Let's be honest. He should have buried that. But he doesn't strike me as the type to hold on to those emotions. He strikes me as the type to go, yeah, fine, no problem. Next game, goal. Next game, goal. But yeah, we lost the Charity Shield last season, the Community Shield, to Leicester 1-0. And it was the same sort of performance. It was the same sluggish sort of performance. And I think Pep seems to do this now in his pre-season, where he wants to really I don't think he wants to throw too many games at them. I think he would rather coach them, because I think he has more to say on the training pitch than he can inflict on the pitch during a 90 minutes competitive match. Because let's be honest, the pre-season now, they're money-making schemes. They're not training schemes. They're to make money. They're to go abroad and advertise the club to the world and get them playing in big environments against big teams. And that's exactly what the Bayern Munich game was. It was a money-making scheme. It was a good game to watch. It was fun to watch. But how much we actually learnt from the game, it was two teams going at it. And same as today, whereas I think we'll see a lot more from the City team on the training pitch when they're actually, they've got 10 weeks under their belt with Pep Guardiola teaching them. And I'm talking about Haaland, Alvarez, Phillips, the new signings. When they get under Pep Guardiola's guidance, that's when you start to see the real City team. And today it just seemed a little bit raw, it seemed a little bit fresh and sluggish. But yeah, Alvarez coming on, he looked sharp, got his goal. I don't know why they took so long. Why did they take so long to decide that was clearly onside? But yeah, but the main thing I took from the game was the first 30 minutes was very much a typical Liverpool start, and they're hungry. You can tell they're hungry. They're pissed off from last season. And why wouldn't you be? You were on for the quadruple, weren't you? And then you bottled it. And gave it all away, and you ended up with a couple of tin pots, and the City end up as the champions of England, which is the real one they wanted. Let's be honest, that's the one they wanted, and they're angry and they were venomous, and you could see they were venomous in their performance today. Milner coming on, what a twat. What a twat he is, man. Coming on every time he comes on, like his face just does my nutting. He winds me up something rotten, he does. But yeah, I mean, during the first half, there was so much dominance. The first 30 minutes in particular, we just couldn't get out. Cancelo got off to a ropey start as well. First 5 minutes, in fact, he gave it away 2 or 3 times. But yeah, it's a pre-season game, technically. It is a pre-season game. You just hope we don't repeat the same as last season and taking the 1-0 loss against Leicester and then going away to Spurs and starting the season off with a loss, you know, straight away. The West Ham's a tough game. It's going to be a tough game. It's like they didn't quite finish the season as strong as they did in the 5 or 6 games before the last 2 or 3 games. They sort of fizzled out a little bit, West Ham, and they've not done too much in the way of transfers this season in the transfer market. So I'm hoping we can catch them cold a little bit, but we've got to get off to a good start because we beat West Ham. That's a horrible place to go. Check that box. West Ham away, win, get that under our belt. Bournemouth, I mean, they have been just like a punching bag for us this season. In previous seasons, sorry, they've been a battering ram, haven't they? We've annihilated them. They've not got a single win against us, and it's always 4-5-0, isn't it? So hopefully Haaland can get some goals under his belt and get off to a good start. But yeah, really disappointed to see the team go out with a little bit of a whimper today. At 1-1, I thought we can do this. We're going to turn this round, and there was a buzz about the place. And then the penalty, it's one of them, isn't it? It's like you're screaming for it if you're Liverpool, aren't you? It's a penalty. Your arm's out. You can't do much about it. It's one of those horrible moments that you just get given against you no matter what. They are the rules. They're the rules. But yeah, the second goal, the third goal for Liverpool goal, it was annoying to see Nunes get off the mark because, you know, you wanted to knock him down a peg because that's going to take his confidence up to the next level now. He's scored against the Premier League champions. Wasn't quite a decider, and he did miss a sitter early on. But he looked sharp. He looked sharp when he came on. Haaland looked not quite as sharp, in all honesty, especially in the second half. A couple of wayward passes. But in the first half, there was a couple of moments that I thought that was the real Haaland. That's the one we want to see. But I mean, he's played 40 minutes against Bayern Munich, so you've got to cut him some slack. But I'm looking forward to West Ham now. Really looking forward to that. Gutted about today. But yeah, onwards and upwards. Come on, you Blues. So give the video a like. Give it a subscribe. This is the first video, if you haven't noticed. Typical City. Give it a like. Give it a subscribe. If you're a fellow Blue, help get this channel off the ground, and it'll be much appreciated. Until then, see you in the next one.